Good evening, Tallahassee. I am student meteorologist Zach Law here with your FSU weather update. Right now, we're seeing some cloudy conditions out there, 93 degrees, and we're looking out at our Doak Campbell Stadium. We see a little bit of sunshine peeking through, but it's been mainly cloudy this evening. And our satellite is showing that we have that cloud cover, but we don't really have any rain in the Tallahassee area. Been pretty quiet. We do have some showers in the Cross City and Gainesville area, so if you're in those areas, you may have a little bit of a wet commute heading home from work and school. And the big picture is showing that we still have this high pressure system sort of hanging out over the Gulf, and that's why we haven't had too high of humidity out there, and our feels like temperatures have been pretty comfortable, but that's going to be changing over the next couple of days. We also have this stationary front that's sort of hanging out over the Nashville area, and that's going to be staying there. It won't affect our weather. And we're going to get down to 73 degrees here tonight, and over the next 3 days, we're going to see our rain chances starting to build into the weekend. I'm going to now pass things off to Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. And things are becoming more summer-like in the southeast. A little more humidity in the region, and it's feeling like the end of July and into the beginning of August. Now you can notice how a lot of these locations are around the upper 80s to around 90 degrees. You see 90 in Atlanta, 93 in Tallahassee, and then off towards Texas and Oklahoma, it's a little bit drier, so it's as a result hotter. 97 in Dallas and 96 in Oklahoma City. Now the dew points, especially in the eastern sections of the southeast, are starting to return to where they are for the end of July and for the beginning of August. You can see a little bit drier still in Atlanta at 64, but down towards Florida, especially in Tallahassee and Jacksonville. Remember the 60-degree dew points earlier in the week? Well, those are unfortunately gone, and it's back into the 70s in terms of your dew points. 70 in Tallahassee and 71 in Jacksonville. And then a lot of humid places out towards Arkansas and Mississippi as well. So the heat indices are getting up there again into the upper 90s and into low 100s, especially in Oklahoma and in Texas, where you see a lot of 100 heat indices. Tallahassee earlier was in the low 100s. Now it's dropped a little bit to 99 degrees, but that shows you the humidity is returning to all of the southeast. And the reason why, a lot of us had those northerly and northeasterly winds at the beginning of the week. They're now becoming easterly and southerly, so that's bringing in the moisture from the Atlantic and Gulf, and that's the reason why those dew points are higher as well. Now, we also have an increased shower and thunderstorm activity in Alabama and North Georgia because of the stalled out boundary, slowly going to drip down towards the south and the east over the next few days. So that will increase the rain chances for North Florida, South Georgia, and South Alabama. And then we'll also get some tropical moisture surging north, affecting Central and South Florida because of that tropical disturbance out in the Caribbean, which we're going to talk about later in our show. So that's what our moisture forecast shows you. The moisture from that tropical wave coming up north into Central and South Florida. We also have some moisture around a ridge in the western sections of the U.S., and this is going to cause some flooding concerns for the central U.S. and especially into Arkansas for the next few days. So we'll talk about more of that in our national. But again, the moisture is on the increase, and so that means increased chances for showers and thunderstorms. And so that tomorrow shows you that change. More showers and thunderstorms in the eastern sections of the southeast, with temperatures right around where they should be for this time of year in the low to mid 90s. Let's another the local, and also let's take and Florida as well.
Look, we're going to just take a broad look at other days. We're seeing a little bit above average in terms of our high, just 3 degrees. Our low temperature, though, is around average for this time of year. And sorry for the mic being out, folks, but our temperatures are about average for this time of year, just a slight bit on our high. And then as we look at the current temperature, feeling like 93 degrees, not too bad, not as warm as we saw earlier in the summer, so just a little bit lower, but still not too bad, mostly cloudy, no showers really prevalent, and kind of nice sunset starting off right now at about 6 o'clock. Zooming into the rest of the area, seeing warm temperatures, Sumatra, the hot spot, 96 degrees. Where you're closer to the coast, you have that Gulf influence, bringing things just a little bit cooler, maybe some showers cooling things off in these lighter orange colors, but not too bad conditions, though the moisture has returned to the area. Saw some nicer dew points the farther you go inland where that Gulf moisture hasn't really affected you. On the Gulf, though, 75 degrees is the dew point in Carabel, 72 in Perry, and 71 in St. Mark's. So a little more moisture for you folks there. And our heat indices are still feeling very warm for this time of year. 99 degrees is the feels like, which is what the heat indices is. It combines the temperature, the dew point, and gives you what it feels like outside. Feeling like 99 here in Tallahassee, 105 in Sumatra. And our wind showing where that sea front is, that front that brings a lot of showers we see this time of year. Right, kind of, you see these southerly winds kind of converging a little bit into Tallahassee, but again, not too well defined. We're not seeing a lot of shower activity. And we do have this upper level low right here that is bringing just a bit of moisture, but you also have that sea breeze shower kind of affecting the east coast of Florida. Into the Panhandle, though, staying relatively clear for now. Moving off into Jacksonville, do see some strong storms just west of Daytona Beach. Moving even farther down south, you see some strong storms as that wind blows some strong weather off into the coast, and you start to see these strong storms move over onto I-4 and then move over into I-75, so bringing some stronger storms into the Tampa Bay area for those folks there. Down into South Florida, moved out of Miami, maybe a couple shower or two, but moving into Fort Myers, and a lot of rain is prevalent. We'll see that rain continue with that increased moisture, as Michael talked about. For the next 24 hours, though, you see those showers kind of dissipate, maybe a shower or two. This model kind of overdoes it on the rain chances for tonight, but tomorrow we do have that return of rain, but high pressure kind of sticking in the area, keeping things a little more comfortable. Only a 20% chance of rain, and into tonight, getting down just a bit cooler, but not cool enough where you're seeing a lot of relief. 73 degrees is our low here in Tallahassee. Farther you go inland, just a tad bit cooler. All this cloud cover, though, is not allowing the radiation to escape and not allowing us to cool as much. And tomorrow, another warm day out there, cooler on the coast, but cloud cover maybe going to make it feel better, as you're not going to see a lot of sunlight hitting you and just making you feel warm. And as we go into your 7-day forecast, only a 20% chance of rain, not too bad. And then going into Friday and Saturday, you have those rain chances start to increase. Your temperature decreases just a tad bit, really not that much noticeable, between 90 and 92 degrees. But the rain chances sticking around into next week, when most of you folks aren't going to be around unless you are if you're not in college, since most students go home for the summer break. But now let's send it back over to Zach, who's going to tell you where your home is going to feel like.
Thanks, Dylan. And our national temperatures, we're seeing 93 here in Tallahassee, and we're seeing some upper 80s, even a 77 over here in Kansas City, but that is because it's quite cloudy and it is storming over there. But the real good conditions are looking over on our west coast. Los Angeles at 73 and San Francisco at 75, very comfortable out there on the west coast. And our dew points, we do see this dry line that we typically do see, so we're seeing lower dew points to our west and warmer dew points over to our east. That's because of our Gulf moisture that typically comes off. But we aren't really seeing as high of a dew point that we would typically see, only 70 here in Tallahassee, because we have that high pressure system that's been sitting over the Gulf. So we haven't gotten as much moisture as we typically do this time of year. So our wind speeds, we have some high wind speeds in the map. Salt Lake City, 21, and we see Chicago at 14, but around here in the southeast, not too much to talk about. We have 6-mile-per-hour winds here in Tallahassee. And the satellite, here's this high pressure system that I was talking about. This has been sort of hanging out over the Gulf for the past few days, so we haven't had a very high dew point because of that. And we do have this front that's sort of stalling out over the Nashville, Tennessee area, and that's not really going to affect our weather too much. It's going to sort of sit around there, and eventually it's going to dwindle out. Not too much to talk about for our region there. And our storm outlook for the day. The main picture, we do have some chances for thunderstorms in the southeast, but mainly the northeast is what we're going to be looking at. They have a 2 out of 5 risk for some severe storms, and we are starting to see some warnings pop up there. So we can see New York's in that area, Boston, we even have Washington, D.C. So some really major cities, some high populated areas, potentially under some storm risks for the evening hours. And as we look into the radar, we can see these orange. These are severe thunderstorms warnings. And we have severe thunderstorm watch, actually, and that's going to be active through most of the evening. It's going to be expiring actually here in a little bit. It looks like it just got updated recently. It's going to be expiring at 6:15. So even though that does expire, that doesn't mean that there isn't a risk for those storms. We could still see those. We know that we have some active storms a little bit south of New York with those severe thunderstorm warnings there. And we do have some concerns for flooding because they did have some severe weather there yesterday. We have a flash flood warning until 6:15 as well, and we have a flash flood watch until 8 p.m. there. And our next 24 hours, it's going to be mainly quiet here in the southeast. We're going to see some sea breeze activity in Florida, but not too much to talk about. And as we wake up to tomorrow, we can expect some clear skies and not too much going on. A little bit of action over here south of Kansas City, but not too much there. And we're going to see some cloud cover throughout the rest of the week. And Our tonight's forecast here in Tallahassee, we're getting down to 73 degrees here, 72 in Atlanta, and then tomorrow's going to be another warm day, 94 here in Tallahassee, and it's going to be warming up throughout the rest of the week, and we're going to send things off to the desk to talk about heat exhaustion.
Thank you very much, Zach. And today is National Heat Exhaustion Awareness Day on July 31st.
Yeah, and in the summertime, you either get the heat or the storm, but heat is something to take notice of. It's one of the leading causes of deaths in the U.S. in terms of weather-related deaths.
Yeah, it's really something to be aware of. Mostly happens to children in cars. That's because people leave their children behind, not necessarily on purpose, just accidentally forgets them, and the car heats up really quickly.
Yeah, and so far in 2019, there's already been 26 hot car deaths, unfortunately, and we don't want that number to rise. So this is a good reminder of what to do when during the summertime to avoid heat stroke.
Yeah, the car can heat up 19 degrees Fahrenheit in just 10 minutes, and that's a very short time to leave a kid in the car for, and you don't really expect it once the AC's off.
Yeah, and also, it doesn't have to be 90 degrees outside for that to happen. It can be only 75, 80 degrees, like in the north, up towards the mid-Atlantic and in the Midwest, where if you just stay there for 30, 40 minutes, it'll already be at 120 degrees.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you look at the asphalt, if you've ever touched asphalt in the summer, and you can feel just how hot it really is, that's how fast the car heats up, and it gets that hot with just direct sunlight.
Yeah, it's basically a car is like a greenhouse where it just stores all the heat and the heat builds up, and that's why you get those temperature increases as well. Also, a lot of these cars have black interiors, so that even reinforces the heat as well.
Yeah, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration recommends that you check in on your child. Keep a system where you remember that you take your child out of the car, just to be aware for your child, for sure.
Yeah, and also to prevent a heat stroke, don't go out at the hottest part of the day. Avoid being outside between 12 and 5 p.m. because that is the hottest part of the day. Try to limit your activities in the early morning or in the late evenings around the sunset time.
Yeah, exactly. But now we're going to send it back out to the wall where we're going to talk more about stuff.
Yeah, we're going to show you a final look at our local forecast, and it is 93 degrees outside again. We do have those mix of sun and clouds, but not a really bad day out there, but you can notice the difference between today and the last few days, and that's the humidity. That humidity is starting to return, and we're feeling more like it should be for the end of July and early August, where those dew points are in the 70s, and it feels like 100 degrees outside. So again, 93 is our temperature at the airport currently. In terms of rainfall, another day of no rain and limited thunderstorm activity, which unfortunately is decreasing that surplus for the month. And for the year, we're almost 11 inches below average. We definitely do need the rain here in North Florida. If you go down to Central and South Florida, they have a rainfall surplus of 10 inches. So you can show the disparity of how dry it's been in North Florida compared to Central and South Florida. Now, the temperatures across the rest of the region, most of us are in the low to mid 90s, ranging around the 90 to 93 degree mark in the inland location. Down towards the coast, you're in the upper 80s with 87 in Apalachicola and 88 in Carabel. Now, the dew points, again, they're starting to increase. Remember, they were in the low to mid 60s earlier in the week on Monday. Now, with that flow coming in from the Gulf, it's getting more of that muggy factor once again. 70 in Tallahassee, 72 in Monticello, and then down towards the coast a little bit higher, 75 in Carabel. So those heat indices are not as close as they were to their air temperature. It's a little 5 to 8 degrees warmer than your air temperature, with 99 in Tallahassee, 105 in Sumatra, and then 97 in Thomasville and Donaldsonville. The winds are showing you why those heat indices and the moisture is increasing. We had that northeasterly wind at the beginning of the week. Now it's becoming more southerly as the front is slowly approaching our area, and that's really going to switch the winds and give us more of that moisture and give us more rain chances, especially as we head towards Friday. Now, today we have a little bit more activity compared to the last few days, mainly across the sea breeze down towards the Nature Coast and down towards Taylor and Dixie County. The rest of the Panhandle is mostly dry. Again, it's going to change as we go into tomorrow. Tomorrow, that rain chance gets a little bit higher, and then it's going to be more typical of end of July rain chances as that stalled out boundary moves a little bit further to the east, and also we'll get some tropical moisture from that tropical wave currently situated in the Caribbean. So tonight, 73 degrees will be our low, a little bit more muggy outside, and here's your 7-day forecast showing you those rain chances really returning to typical summertime values, around 50 to 60% chance, and those temperatures, again, for normal standards around the low 90s or 92 degrees and temperatures in the low to mid 70s. Don't forget to tune in for our final summer show tomorrow at 6 o'clock.